Jackson, Mississippi is where I live, and digging graves is what I've been doing my entire life. In fact, after I dropped out of high school as a teenager, it was the only job I could find. Now, doing this job out here in the cemetery, I've seen my fair share of scary things. Ghosts, shadow men, hellhounds, and for a long time, I thought I had seen it all. That was until early one summer morning. I'm prepping for a funeral. The grave had already been dug, and I was just setting up chairs and decorating. Understand, dealing in the business of death is tough enough. Watching families cry and suffer over and over, day in and day out, takes a toll on you mentally. Listen, me sharing with you the mental stress of my job is no way an indictment on my mental health. I am sane, I'm not crazy, I don't take any meds, my life is good. Anyway, so I'm there, and the cemetery is nestled into the woods. And by that, I mean you have to drive through the woods to get to the cemetery. It's one of the older black cemeteries in Mississippi. And so you can understand what I mean by old. There are literally dead slaves buried in a section of this cemetery. No headstones, no nothing. Picture this, the sun is rising, but there's this mist still hovering above the ground. And looking to my left, I see something moving so fast that it smears this mist, just like an artist painting with a paintbrush. At first, I'm thinking to myself, look, it must be one of the spirits out here moving around. Nothing to be afraid of, nothing to worry about. No smell of sulfur or nothing like that. So I'm thinking it's a ghost, not a demon, and I get back to work. Then again, out the corner of my eye, I see this thing dart through the mist. So fast that the only sign it was there was the movement of the mist itself. The next thing I hear is this growling, and then the sound of this impact on flesh. Let me explain it to you. Have you ever tenderized a steak and you're sitting there and you're punching it and beating it? You know that kind of wet, plopping sound that your fist makes when it meets that meat? That it was that exact same sound, but so loud that it had an echo. And let me tell you, after that, all hell broke loose. There was this low-pitched humming sound, followed by these growls so strong like nothing I ever heard, combined with the sound of metal twisting and bending. Keep in mind, all of this commotion is going on in the mist about 50 to 60 yards away from me. Then I see this thing that looks like a freaking monster from a sci-fi movie. Triangle head, this blackish gray metallic skin, long claws. This thing comes flying out of the mist about 6 feet above the ground like Hercules had just slung it, and slams into a tree. And I lie to you not, the only way to describe this is it was like something out of a movie. It hits the tree so hard it takes a chunk out. Hits the ground, bounces back up. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Dog Waters. I'm hoping that you enjoyed this story so far. It really is a good one. I'm getting back in my bag, in my production bag like I used to be. So you guys got some really good stuff coming. Head on over to the website iamdogwaters.com to check it out and listen to the entire story. And for those of you who are new to my channel and hearing this for the first time, head on over to iamdogwaters.com to become a member.
More than half of the country will feel the effects of a heat wave over the next 24 hours.
By the weekend, at least 14 states are expected to break temperature records. CBS News weather producer David Parkinson joins us now to talk about this heat wave. So just how bad is it expected to be, Dave?
It's bad, and it is expanding in scope. So here's the situation. It was primarily contained to sort of the plains states on Wednesday. It expands today further east into the Ohio River Valley. By the time we get to tomorrow, it's throughout the East Coast. So by and large, when we take a look at the number of people that we're being impacted here with, we're looking at 150 million people under heat alerts. By the time we get to Saturday, 250 million people will actually be seeing high temperatures above 90 degrees. So it's a really, really uncomfortable situation.
And it's not just the heat, it's the humidity?
That's right. The old adage is absolutely correct. So let me explain what's going on here. Basically, you've got transport of Gulf moisture. You also have Barry's moisture. All of that together is making things exceptionally humid. You're getting all of this moisture on the ground. So you're getting these insanely high dew points. When we take a look at what the dew points are in some of the central sections of the country, we're looking at a dew point of 84 degrees in Mankato, 80 in Waterloo, Iowa, and 78 in Oshkosh. What that translates to in terms of when we look at the numbers, the high temperatures aren't that bad. It's 90 in Waterloo, 91 Mankato, 93 in Oshkosh. But look at those feels like temperatures. 104 in Waterloo, 110 in Mankato. That's what an 84 degree dew point does to you. So the reason why I bring that up is it is a rinse and repeat situation throughout the country.
Let me start here. I've had a hell of a lot of Dogman encounters, but at the time I was having those encounters, I wasn't sure what was going on. It all started on one of those blazing summer days. I remember it clear as day, because all over the news they were talking about this heat wave. Dutch, my German Shepherd, had just bolted out of the back door. Now pause, let me tell you a little bit about Dutch. Dutch is my best friend. Hell, he's my only friend. And around my property, which is 22 acres, Dutch roams freely. That particular day, we were on the backside of the property fixing some fence posts when Dutch takes off running into the wood lines, quickly backs out, and then starts jumping up and down playfully. Then he takes off into the woods. Now, listen to me. Him taking off into the woods, again, it's nothing new to me. It didn't even cross my mind as being a threat. Time passes, and by time passing, I mean just enough time for me to realize that he's been gone too long. So I start calling him, Dutch, come here, boy. Dutch, come here. Now, looking back on all the events that have happened, I believe right now at this moment is when I had my first encounter. Because I hear this running through the woods, quick, heavy, bipedal footsteps. These footsteps are loud, louder than any human footsteps in the woods that I've ever heard. But get this, the next thing you know, the footsteps stop and Dutch comes running out of the wood line. He pauses, takes a look back into the woods, then walks over to me. Now, over the next few days, Dutch's behavior started to change. It was almost like he was working on shifts or something. He would be going into the woods for 30 minutes, then he'd come back. Then he'll leave me going for like 40 minutes, and he'll come back. Listen to this. That Saturday night, we're sitting on a sofa watching TV, when Dutch walks over to the window, stands there, and just starts looking out. Then he heads to the back door and starts whining and whimpering. Now, I'm thinking, okay, maybe the dog has used the bathroom, so I open the door. He takes off running full speed into the darkness. Again, in retrospect, I should have known something was off, because that night he came back with blood all over his body. I check, and it's not his blood. He wasn't hurt, he wasn't injured, just his whole body was bloody. The following day I head back to the backside of my property to finish working on the fence and find a dead deer carcass, head ripped from the body and partially eaten. Now listen to this. That very same night, Dutch starts crying and whining at the back door, trying to leave to go outside, but I refuse to open the door. Head into the bathroom, and when I come back, my back door is open and he's gone. Now, look, I'm freaking out because I live in a small town, the kind of place where you don't have to lock your doors. My closest neighbor is 3 miles away. Dutch ain't opening no doors for himself. So I grab my rifle, head outside, and start circling the house looking around. Now, this is when I believe I first laid my eyes on Dogman, but I did not know what I was seeing. I have this small garage/workshop that I have about 25 yards away from my house, right? Mounted on that structure is this small motion sensor light. The light comes on, and for a brief second I see this thing running. It's on 2 legs, tall as the garage, and fast. By fast, I mean it's very fast. It runs past, and the next thing you know, there's Dutch chasing behind it. But not like he was trying to attack it or try and kill it. It was this playful jumping and leaping chasing behind this creature. So now I'm standing there in the darkness calling him, Dutch, come here, boy, Dutch, come here. It takes a few minutes, but soon I see him running in my direction. He runs past me up to the back porch and starts drinking water. Now, I'm sure you're thinking to yourself right now, this guy's foolish. There's no way he saw that and didn't freak out. Listen to me. I'm not telling you that I wasn't afraid. I'm not telling you that I wasn't in shock. I was completely confused by what I saw. But again, Dutch is my best friend. And if there was a real threat, I figured Dutch would have been behaving as such. But he wasn't. Get this, Dutch and I go back inside, and the next morning, there's a hog. I mean a 250-pound hog right on my back porch. Its neck is broken, but other than that, it's a perfectly good hog. So I take the hog, skin it, take the guts, throw it over in the woods, slap it on the grill, and start cooking me a meal. Now, that particular day, Dutch didn't go into the woods. He just stuck around the house, munching on this hog with me. Now, the next thing that happened was freaking creepy and very, very scary. Nighttime comes. I'm in the kitchen. I hear the back doorknob turning, then something pulling on the door, but it's locked. Now, Dutch is at the door, whimpering and whining, trying to go outside, but that night, I forced him to stay inside. The activity goes on for about a month. Deer, hogs left at my back door, Dutch running off into the woods, the doorknob shaking in the middle of the night, and I figured whatever this thing is, had to be harmless. Because based on what I saw and everything that it did, if it wanted to hurt me, it could have just ran through the walls of the house and got me. If it wanted to free Dutch from inside of the house based on the size of what I saw, it could have ripped the door frame off. Now listen to this. Just as I'm getting comfortable with the new dynamics of what's going on around my property, suddenly, one day, it just stopped. No more hogs, no more deers. Dutch wasn't whining or crying to go outside at night, and he seemed sad and depressed. That depression lasted for about a week, then he went back to normal. Now, listen to me. I know what people say about these dogmen. They're horrifying, mean, terrible killers. But that wasn't my experience, and that wasn't Dutch's experience either. I believe he made a friend, and in turn, I made a friend. Never once was this thing aggressive. It seemed to me like it just wanted to play. Okay, so this Randonautica app is crazy. Let me start by saying this. If I was you, I wouldn't try it. Because I did, and it led me directly to a freaking Dogman Encounter outside of Taylor, Mississippi. Now, like many of you, I saw this app online and decided to give it a try. The way it works is you download the app, answer a few questions, tell it how many locations you want, and then you turn around and focus your intent on what you want. So I start off Hattiesburg, Mississippi, pick 4 locations. It tells me to focus my intention on what I want, so I start thinking about all the Dogman stories I heard. And I think about the video I saw out of Fort Pierce, the photos. And after a few seconds, these random coordinates pop up. Now I watch a lot of these videos, and the majority of the people who use this app encounter something creepy, but on a scale of 1 to 10, it's more of a 3 or a 4. In extreme cases, I've seen people with 9s and 10s. Now, there was absolutely no reason at all for me to believe that I was going to find Dogman. I just figured, hey, it's Saturday, I ain't got nothing to do, let's go on an adventure. So now I'm driving, following the directions, and it leads me to this parking lot. Just a parking lot, a few cars parked there, nothing more. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, this is nothing to worry about. That's until I notice one of the trucks in the parking lot. Decal on the back window. A simple silhouette of a wolf head with the words, "Bad Wolf." I say to myself, okay, that's strange. but it's not Dogman, so I head to the next spot. The next location, 18, 20 miles away, small road right off Highway 49 in Sanford, Mississippi. I get there, get out of the car, and nothing's going on. Everything seems normal. Get back in the car, going to the next point, and it tells me to drive to Carrollton, Mississippi. Now, this drive to Carrollton ain't no short drive, but like I said, it's Saturday. I have absolutely nothing to do, so I'm driving, listening to the radio. When I get to Carrollton, directions take me down Grenada Road to Highway 100, and it tells me to stop in front of these people's house. A random house on the side of the road, and the point of interest is on the back side of these people's property. Now, this is Mississippi, and in Mississippi, you don't just be wandering on the people's property. And there was absolutely no way I was about to knock on these people's door, tell them that I want to go onto the back side of their property because I'm following an app that's leading me to a freaking werewolf. That wasn't happening, not doing it, so I get back in the car and proceed to the next spot. And right here is when my Dogman encounter really starts to get interesting, because the next point on this map is literally right outside of Taylor, Mississippi. Remember, I started in Hattiesburg. This is a lot of freaking driving. Now I'm headed down these back roads to Taylor, Highway 35 to Chadstone, then Highway 32 to 315, and I get to number 4 Club Road. And it stops me right along this right-of-way directly underneath the power line next to this body of water. Understand, I get out of the car, it's still broad daylight, but it is creepy as hell in this location. Listen, I'm less than a mile from that Highway 315, but you can't hear any cars. I'm alone on this right-of-way. And if you don't believe me, pull up Google Maps and look it up yourself. The app led me directly to that spot. As I get out of my car, I'm saying to myself, okay, this is definitely Dogman territory. And it was creepy, like I said, but nothing was happening. So I started walking around. I get about 40 to 50 yards away from my car. Driver's side door left open, car still running, then starts to move in the trees. And when I say move in the trees, I mean something up in the trees starts to move. I ain't talking about like a squirrel running around in the trees. No birds fluttering around in the trees either. The top of the freaking trees starts swaying back and forth and moving. Standing there, looking at the trees, moving back and forth like something is jumping from tree to tree, saying to myself, holy, what did I get into? Now turning, moving back in the direction of my car, the freaking driver's side door is closed. I know I left it open. I did it on purpose in case I needed to run and get in my car. The son of a bitch is closed. Now seeing this, I start to panic and I'm running full speed to my vehicle. Behind me, I can hear the trees rustling and shaking as if whatever it was in the trees was jumping from tree to tree to tree, paralleling me as I ran back to my car. When I get to my car door, the door is locked. Again, I left this car door open, the car running. There was no reason for my car door to be closed or locked. Now I'm there, yanking on the door handle, panicking, when I realize, holy crap, I have the electronic key to my car in my pocket. Listen to me when I tell you, I damn near broke my thumb hitting that button trying to get the car door open. Once I got into the car, foot on the gas, spinning around, damn near slammed into the transmission pole, trying to get the hell out of there. When I finally got away from the area, pulled over on the side of the highway just to get my wits about myself. Now, looking back on what happened, the one thing I can tell you is I am freaking glad that I did not make the mistake of going to that very same spot after dark. Because I'm not sure that I've been able to get my back up out of there alive.